Hello everyone, welcome back to my Code to Care video series. I'm going to continue to talk about agents and agentic AI today. And I want to answer the question about how do LLMs actually call tools? And I'll explain what I mean by tools in a moment. But when you think about agentic AI, and what LLMs can do, let me just say this. There's really three things that sort of make up the agentic AI concept. The first is historically LLMs only did this. They only wrote responses. So you'd ask it a question, I don't know, how do I fix this plumbing problem? Or write me a marketing plan, or write me a poem, and it would write and give you a response back. And what agentic AI adds is two additional responsibilities for LLMs. One is to make decisions, and lastly is to call tools. And agentic AI is really about the addition of these two concepts into the leveraging of Gen AI. And make decisions is like, should I do this or do that next? And that creates a non-deterministic workflow sometimes in the way an agentic AI system will complete its tasks. And calling tools is like calling APIs or calling Python code to do something. It might be something innocuous, like look up something from a database, but it might be more like schedule an appointment or schedule a follow-up test or call this API or do this external function or something that's more changes the external world than just writing, which kind of is an innocuous experience. So today I'm going to answer the question, how does an LLM call a tool? All right, let's say you're building a system for your internal employees to use, and it's to carry out actions related to HR kinds of things. And one of the things you want your system to be able to do is respond back with employee information, like what is Alice Jones's email address? Okay, so you have your application. This box is your tenant or your data center, or it's your world. You have your application. Here's your user experience. You have the user asking a question like, what is Alice Jones's email? Might be phone number or some information about some other employee. And tenant, hang on, T-E-N-A-N-T, sorry about that. And then you have an LLM service over there, like OpenAI or something like that. And then you have a tool that's available to the LLM, and the tool is called Employee Lookup API. And given an employee name, the LLM can call that API and get information back that might be helpful to answering the user's question. Okay, and the way the system works, at least the way I'm thinking that you're imagining the way it works, is that your application will then construct a prompt, and the prompt will include the user's question, and it will also include a list of tools. So you're going to tell the LLM, here's a user question, and here's a list of tools that you can use if you want to answer the user's question. And the tools would describe the one tool you have, which is there's an employee lookup tool. You send it a name, that's the one parameter, a string with the employee's name, and I'll return you back like a dictionary or a set of information about that employee. And you can use that if you'd like. You can use that tool. So you bundle this all up as a prompt. You send it to the LLM. And what you're probably imagining is then the LLM would say, OK, for me to answer this question, I'm going to call that tool. And the LLM would call the tool, get a response, and then answer back to the user. OK? So this is not actually how it works. So the LLM when I say LLM calls a tool, it never actually calls a tool directly. It just requests that you call a tool. So it doesn't actually call the tool directly like I've drawn here. So let me update the diagram and show you how the actual flow would work in practice. Hey there, I'm just popping in to say that I'd love to hear your comments and feedback on this video. I read all the comments, so let me know what you think. Let me know what suggestions you have for my next video by putting in some comments below the line here. Thanks. So what actually happens is the prompt is the same. Here's the user question. Here are the tools that are available to you. If you'd like to call a tool, let me know in your response and let me know the parameters that I should send to the tool. And here's the description of the tools available to you. So you send that to the LLM. The LLM will respond back, yes, I'd like to call the tool. I want to call the employee lookup API tool, and I want you to pass it this name, Alice Jones, as a parameter. So you're going to get that response and parse it and see, okay, LLM wants me to call a tool. You, in your little Agentic AI system, are going to call the tool directly. You're going to get a response back, and you're going to send that response back to the LLM. So you're not necessarily going to parse it or add any value. You're just going to say, okay, I called the tool for you. Here's its response. And then the LLM will read the response, and it will go back to, and then it'll craft an answer. Alice Jones's email is such-and-such.gmail.com, something like that. So that's actually the way LLMs call tools. They don't actually call them directly, in contrast to the way you may be thinking about it. They basically just respond back with a request for you to call the tool and any parameters needed. So you might view this as strange that LLMs don't call tools directly, but let me tell you the main two reasons why. First is they can't. It's in your firewall. So most of the time, like in this diagram, your LLM service is OpenAI or a Google service or a Grok service or something like that, something outside your firewall. And your tools are, a lot of them are in your firewall. So they're proprietary databases or proprietary APIs that do things within your company. So the LLM doesn't have access to that. It can't call those directly. So that's one of the main reasons why it doesn't call those tools directly. And the other reason is you may want a human in the loop. Okay, this is not a good example of that because this is a relatively innocuous tool that's kind of a read-only tool. But if the tool was to send emails or schedule appointments or put in orders for a patient or throw something on the patient portal or, I don't know, cancel something or to do more invasive actions within your organization, sometimes you'll want a human in the loop saying, here's what I'd like to do now, accept or reject, something like that. Or some other, or edit, allow the human to edit the action or something like that. And then they would say accept, and then you would call the tool. So there's a lot of use cases with more invasive tools where you're going to want the human to review what's about to happen. So for both of those reasons, LLMs don't actually call tools directly. They rather request in their response for you to call the tool. You, in your little Agentic AI system, you get that response, you call the tool, get a response back, and send it back to the LLM. So there's a few different iterations of the LLM call to get this done, but that's essentially the whole agentic flow relative to calling tools, basically. So this was a very easy case. In my next video, I'm going to continue this discussion with a more complicated case, which hopefully should flesh this out a little bit more for you. Hey there, I hope you liked this video. I've added a next video at the end of this, so take a look at that if you enjoyed this. And if something resonated with you, please drop a comment down below here. I read every comment myself, and I really appreciate hearing from you. Thanks.